I'm Omar.
And I'm Freddie.
I'm Kyra.
And joined by our guest today,
Natalie.
Woohoo!
Before we begin this conversation, Kyra, could you please explain to us what Andale is?
Andale stands for the Association to Nurture and Develop the Advancement of Latino, Latina, and Latinx in Education. It's a program at Oakton that supports, advocates for, and empowers Latinx students by helping them succeed academically, personally, and professionally. The program focuses on building community and leadership through one-on-one mentoring, transfer support, scholarship help, cultural events, and workshops. Andale also creates a safe space for students to explore their identities, connect with others who share similar goals, and access resources to help them grow and thrive at their time at Oakton and beyond.
Well, why don't we just get started, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's.
You want me to take the lead?
Yes.
Well, today we have a nice guest. Natalie, would you please just give us a little background on yourself? Anything?
Why you're here and what
Yeah.
you would like to present.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
It's
Trying to be genuine here. But yeah, thanks for having me. So this is my second and last semester at Oakton. I'm part of the Women and Gender and Sexuality Studies program. That's what I'm minoring on. So my major is anthropology and sociology, and I plan to transfer to Lake Forest College.
Yay.
Can you go into deeper on like what that entails for your section?
Okay, yeah, no problem. So, Women and Gender and Sexuality Studies is a concentration offer at Oakton, and in there there's like different there is a curriculum, and depending on the classes you take, you can complete with the concentration. It'll be on your transcript, and it is a 15-hour concentration, and there is an action project to do at the end, and this is my action project.
Nice. I'm honored to be a part of, I don't know.
Your project.
Yeah, your project.
Nice to
Glad
know
that
that.
you wanted us to be part of your project.
Yeah, we're contributing to your grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm here for a grade.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They hate us in real life.
Okay.
You know, we don't know them at all, 100%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They actually picked them off the street.
Okay. So if you would like to begin your conversation.
Yeah, no problem. I keep saying that.
Maybe it is a problem.
Actually, yeah, it is a problem starting this.
We engage in fisticuffs to solve it.
I never actually made an introduction for this.
That's fine. You just start talking though.
Yeah, just start talking.
Yeah, like how do you get into like your area of that study pretty much? Like what draws you to the class and like the program?
The reason I took this program, funny enough, I wasn't intended to take this program. I just kind of realized that as I took more classes, it's kind of leading me to the concentration, and I generally enjoy the topic. To me, high school, I didn't really have the chance to talk any more deeper understanding of women or gender or even sexuality in classes. And, you know, I learned a lot, and as a Latina woman, the way how race intersects with sexuality was really interesting to me, and that's why I want to come here and talk about. As you know, we live in Chicago, and Chicago is such a vast city with a lot of culture intertwined. And I guess I wanted to start with, how do you, as a Latino, experience Chicago?
So do any of you guys want to start the conversation? Kyra, you can jump in whenever.
Yeah, I forget I could talk.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't. I grew up in Park Ridge, so it's mostly white, white people. So I didn't get to have that side. So it kind of makes me sad sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Were you like a model minority kind of, or like put on a pedestal for your like?
It was just for elementary school, so I don't have too I don't remember my memories too well. But I just remember always being the only brown person, and they would do the birthday announcements, and this one time it was someone some other person had the same last name as mine, Hernandez, and you never hear that last name there, so everyone thought I had some secret brother that I was hiding, and I went along with it too. I don't know why.
I feel like that's such a common experience in being a kid and being Latino, and there's another Latino person here. They must be related, right?
Mm-hmm.
the amount of times I've seen both Sandy and Nat be compared as sisters, or me and Sandy being compared as brother and sister, or I think it happened. I think like maybe twice for me and Nat. Oh my God, we don't look like alike at all.
Yeah. You guys are Hispanic, though. Obviously, you must be related.
We're brown. Right?
Yeah.
But I understand how you feel because I also didn't get that much of my own culture because I wasn't like I was a weeb in middle school. I got bullied for it. I got bullied by the other Latino kids because it was a majority Latino middle school, and I didn't get to be with any of them because I was a weirdo. I will admit. I got bullied and it was deserved. It was deserved. It was
For
deserved
what?
for being weird. Just for
Oh,
being
okay.
weird.
Weird, being into anime, and you know,
Are
probably.
you saying
Probably
you support
Naruto running.
bullying?
I was just gonna say that you're probably Naruto.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was Naruto running absolutely, and so I didn't get to like. So I was mostly just hanging out with like white gay kids, and I mean I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I definitely didn't get a part.
Is that what made you weird?
No, but it definitely didn't like help in their eyes, you know, because they got that machismo kind of like heteronormative viewpoint, and if they see anything weird or different, because I hung out with like the like emo, like in quotation marks, emo kids. So I was, you know,
You were just different.
I was different. I was different.
No one understood.
I was just, they just don't understand me. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just didn't get like that much of my own culture, like just like hanging out with other people. So I lost the language. I'm learning it now, but I definitely lost the language because I didn't have any like people to speak with other than my family. And even then, they had to learn English because we had a speech impediment. All of us had a speech impediment. So just the doctors and the teachers like, I think it'd be better if you learn them English first before Spanish. And so we kind of most of my siblings do not speak any Spanish.
They don't?
Yeah, my siblings and I, we barely speak any Spanish. Me and the middle one are learning it, and my youngest brother, he's not at the point where I don't think I think he kind of wants to learn. Like he's getting to the point where he kind of wants to learn, but you know.
How does it make you feel that like you don't know Spanish? Does it ever like make you upset?
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I want to speak Spanish with other Latinos, but I can't do it comfortably.
Yeah, like definitely. Me, I'm a Afro-Latino, right? And being in a school and having to choose an identity for yourself, and also like not being ingrained in the culture at all, definitely puts you on an iceberg. Because I'm pretty much like straight lace, just a typical black guy, right? And when I explain to other people who are within the Latino community, it's like if I don't like look like Latino immediately, I don't get any interaction. I almost got bullied once, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe the nerds are for me. I can't, because I'm a little sensitive. You know, I'm not very like strong, quote unquote, man and stuff like that. So like, you really have to choose where they will accept you if you're a Latino that's not like a typical Latino in my like areas at least.
Do you ever feel like you try too hard to be Latino, like to like, you know, show that you are? Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. Now it's more or less just like, I'm a grown man. Like, I don't have to prove anyone to anyone, and I know what my identity is, and I love my culture. I love my mom, who, you know, ingrained some of the lessons and some like the stories and the things that I should venerate, at least be like a part of my culture instead of like losing that, because I see like that's what the expectation of becoming an American became for a lot of people within the previous generation, is that you also have to become like conforming to, I guess, like average American lifestyles, you know? We lose a part of ourselves when we move here, or like when you come from a different area that doesn't have predominantly like Latino like people. So when you're here, you kind of just slowly degrade in terms of that persona that you have.
Yeah, I got like culturally blessed, I guess, when I moved from Park Ridge to Des Plaines now. And that was in like middle school, but then like like, it didn't really make a difference because I still felt left out, since like I was so like whitewashed that like I didn't know anything from my culture. Like like I ended up just hanging out with the white kids still because that was like all I knew. And then like getting older like that like like I didn't realize how disconnected I was like till I got older, and now I'm like trying to like fix it, but like it just like kind of sucks, you know.
When you say degrade or like lose part of yourself, I actually never felt like I lose a part of myself. Because like I'm second generation immigrant. I always spoke Spanish, and to me, I never felt that being here I lost my Latino identity. I felt like I created a new one, something different. And when learning about like Chicano history and Chicana history, to me, it felt like, especially for the younger generation who are born here and their parents were born somewhere else, I feel like we created our own identity to identify ourselves as. Because to me, elementary school, I was with a lot of kids who didn't even know English, and I never really felt a disconnect. I just always felt that like I was always close to someone that I can relate to.
Can I like add on to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can really relate with your experience because first I lived in Chicago for like I think the first 5 years of my life. I lived in Cicero, and I lived in a very Hispanic neighborhood. Like I remember like every morning we would, okay, not every morning, but like a lot of the times we would go eat at taquerias and just like eating Hispanic food was just like so normal to me. And I was just like super ingrained in my culture. So then when I first moved to Des Plaines, it was culture shock because there was like a lot of white people. And like kind of even now, I'm still experiencing a little culture shock just because there are so many things that I grew up with that I never considered were abnormal or were only pertaining to Latino communities. So I can heavily relate that I never really lost my identity. I feel like I just kind of like grew another one. And like, yeah, when I was growing up, I always spoke Spanish, and I'm not good at it, but I'm not terrible at it. I can hold a pretty solid conversation in Spanish. So yeah, I can just like really relate to what you're saying.
Can you give us an example of the cultural shock that you felt when you moved to Des Plaines?
Yeah, so I feel like, I guess, with community events, okay, because in Chicago, block parties, that was a pretty big culture shock. Is just like in where I lived, block parties were like a really, really huge thing. We blocked off like a huge portion of the neighborhood, and, you know, there'd be like a mechanical bull, and then there'd be like your person like making paletas and ice cream and everything, and it's just, and then there's like, you know, like little Hispanic kids running around shirtless. It's like, where's your mom? But it's like, you know, we're like all a family, so, you know, it's like,
take care of each other.
Yeah, we take care of each other. And then when I moved to Des Plaines and I experienced like my first like block party, first of all, it wasn't even the whole block. It was just like a section of the neighborhood cut off.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
In a little cul-de-sac kind of area, right?
yeah, and it was just like, you know, a bouncy house, a face painter, everybody just kind of standing around and everything.
Yeah, pretty much like I'm from Evanston, right? And when we have a block party, it was mostly just like everyone around that block. There's not a single amount of space that's not being used by everybody. And if you know each other, you probably are in good faith. Some people might not like each other, but like, you know, it's a whole block. It isn't just like one square section, and cops don't care about like permits. Back in the day, now I don't know. Like everyone's kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie.
And then I think like another thing with 4th of July events, something I've just like noticed is just like, I don't know, with Hispanic communities, or it's like when we see another group of Latinos, we just like kind of have like the understanding of like, oh, we're like family, and we're just very nice to each other, versus like, I don't know, like if I needed to borrow bug spray from somebody, they'd be just kind of like, I don't know, rude about it. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can relate to that because like I understand the struggles. Like my mom doesn't know English, so I kind of understand that struggle. And I had a lot of like older Latinos who are like trying to navigate the bus system, and they always come to me and they always ask for directions. And to me, I generally like enjoy helping them because I understood if I saw my mom like be in that situation, I will hope that someone else will come and help her.
I've definitely seen the same thing, and I kind of make this joke whenever someone comes up to me.
You're not gonna say like, I'm not that type of brown, right?
What?
I'm just saying, like, you know, some people that when they come up to you, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not that type of brown." When like you like,
I've seen that.
You've never heard?
I know, I'm shocked you haven't.
It's like the tried and true like escape rope. You know, when you don't want to talk about.
Hold on. This is what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that, you know, sometimes Latino folks will come up to me and start speaking to me in Spanish and asking me for help, and you know, and a phrase that my mom has always said is "porque tenemos cara de Latino," and it's like, you know, that means like we have a Latino face, so that's like why Hispanic folks always come up to me. Like, it's very obvious that I'm like Latino. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but like Omar, you get this. Like some Latinos, they'll be like, "Oh, like I'm sorry, I'm Middle Eastern. I don't speak Spanish." Like it's like
I've seen that. Yeah.
it's like, you know, you.
Why
could
would
be,
I say that though?
Some people just don't want to be good Samaritans that day. They just want to go on. But it's like, you know,
Like,
you
even
should
if
help
they
each
speak
other.
Spanish.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's really bad because it's like if you have the power to do it.
If you have the power to help somebody, you should.
You should help someone, especially if it's like, you know, us, because you know who's gonna have your back and.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a video about how it is in Mexico. No, not Mexico. Texas. And there's like a bunch of like more like Mexicans have been there for a very long time, and they are just like, when you come up to them and speak Spanish to them, they're like, I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak that illegal language.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Like feigning ignorance and stuff like that, really?
No, like actually just being like, I don't speak, like they're basically trying to act white. I know this one kid. Oh my god, he does this. He only hangs around white people, and he does not speak any Spanish. And whenever he complains when anyone tries to ever talk to him in Spanish at our store, but I don't like that guy.
Is he Mexican?
Yeah, he is Mexican. Yeah.
But like, I don't understand the purpose.
Nah, sometimes you get lost and like your code switched, but like some people, I guess it is just like a
Self-hate.
Yeah, self-hate.
Can you explain that code switch?
Oh, code switching? So like how I'm talking to you right now, it might be different to how I might talk to my boss, you know. For instance, let's do a little experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're my teacher. Yes. Oh my god. Okay. You're my teacher.
And I'm your student.
I don't know. We're at the DMV, right? I'm changing the whole thing. We're at the DMV, and you know, I really want to get my ID, and I don't want to look like I came here on the last second. So, for instance, I'm coming here, and you want to do it, right?
What?
You want to do it?
Act as a DMV?
Yeah.
What does a DMV say?
Like, welcome to the DMV.
Yeah, like
They're
just
not that happy to see you.
not that happy to see you. Be like, hey, I'm just trying to get my
What do
real
you want?
ID. I'm just trying to get my real ID.
Okay.
Have you set up an
I have my.
These are like the two DMV that you're gonna get. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to bother you. Yeah. Who do I talk to get my real ID?
That'll be her over there.
Oh, really? Yeah. I have my social security number, my state ID. Do I need anything else? I'm so sorry.
Whatever you need should be on the website. Have you brought everything needed on the website?
I think I got the Title E, Title B, or whatever. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'll take that for a quick look.
Thank you.
Those look like the wrong documents.
Can we try to make it work, please?
No, you're gonna have to set up an appointment for a later date.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, like, if I'm on a cashier and I'm gonna ask him, I'll ask him politely. But like, if I'm in front of like someone of authority, I'm never gonna be like, you know what, man? I want you to make this work. I need this to work. I need this now. Like, you know, you have a certain you have a certain level of respectability to other people,
Yeah.
but it could also be a thing where it's like I also have to perform for others to make other people comfortable. Now, if I came into the DMV and I was a little bit agitated because I didn't have my school ID from middle school, like I would get a little bit mad, right? But I would never start an argument in the DMV or
So
come a
you're
little
essentially
aggressive.
saying that code switching is like putting on a more cleaner voice.
Maybe a more cleaner voice, or I guess. Yeah, putting on a different presence.
Because like code switching, that only applies to minorities, right?
Wait, I
No.
thought code switching was just like you talk to your friends differently than how you talk to like your parents. Is that
it
not
can-
code switching?
When I say the authority figure, it's usually a parent, but there is the intersectionality of
Or-
race and relations to that. You
or
know?
just like how you talk to some friends differently. Like, is that like code switching too?
Yeah,
Yes.
it can be as little as I don't curse in front of my mom, versus I don't say slang in front of my boss.
Like you don't say yacht or something in front of like.
I don't say yacht. Period. I'm
Okay, that's
I'm
fair.
so sorry for the language, or I don't know. Well, sorry for the.
I'm not sure if I can put yeah in my.
Oh yeah, 'cause
We
you're-
are students. We're students.
Yeah, it's fine.
I made my grandma say yacht.
Why?
That's awesome.
Like she went down like the whole list, like the brain rot list. That I could not breathe.
Did you
bullying
like
your
film
grandma.
her doing it, or did you just?
Kinda but then I just couldn't. I had to stop because I was just laughing too hard. She did it in front of Hector too. Like we were at a restaurant.
I would do it, but I would feel bad because it's just like my grandma clearly won't understand this. It's just I don't know. It'd be funnier if I showed it to my dog.
You're laughing at her, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She I think she understood what was going on, but she obviously didn't know what they meant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was smiling and then going what, and then it just kept going. Anyways,
I hope that was code switching. If there's any language majors or anthropology majors, I'm
They
sorry.
come to you after the podcast.
But yeah, they're gonna.
This was not an accurate representation of what I study.
They're gonna kill you. They're gonna kill you. You gotta run. They're gonna kill you. They're gonna get you.
I mean, as an art major, we're both gonna be in the same cardboard box fighting already.
That's true. That's true.
What, you're gonna be neighbors with STEM majors? Wait, not STEM majors.
Oh yeah, also
hold on.
STEM majors.
Yeah.
No, IT,
Every major
IT,
in
yeah,
Yeah, we're
college.
all homeless. We're all homeless.
Comp sci majors.
education.
Anything that isn't contributing to the AI workspace. And I'm so sorry for going off topic. Do you put anything else for us in Star?
oh yes.
Yeah, so I guess going more back to Chicago. So do you feel like being closer to Chicago or closer to the culture, or do you feel like Chicago does not service you as your race or
I
the
think,
city?
speaking as somebody who grew up in a very predominantly Hispanic neighborhood,
Cicero, right?
yeah, Cicero. I would say that Chicago did hold or did meet a lot of cultural standards. Yeah, from my personal experience.
I mean, I feel like Chicago is I see it and it's so far. I can see my culture, my people be right there, but it's so far.
It's like a party you're not invited to.
I'm not invited to that. I can't speak Spanish, and also some of the neighborhoods aren't completely safe. So I also I don't personally feel comfortable going into there. But also it's that's where my people are. I can't. It's like you said, it's a party I'm not invited.
Wait,
This
can
isn't
I,
the mystical Finland. It's
No, I feel that though because even my dad, he's 100% Mexican and his parents were born in Mexico. But and he grew up in the city too, but sometimes I want to go to areas before I want to go to events happening in Pilsen or Little Village, and he'd always be so hesitant on letting me go, or he one time I went to this thrift vintage pop-up, and then my dad was just there standing there the whole time, and I was I didn't understand the point because it felt fine. But I also know Pilsen's getting gentrified, or so that was during the early beginning of that. But it does feel like a party you're not invited to because what's the point of me going? I don't even feel like I belong here, because especially because I don't speak Spanish, so I don't even know what's going on. I'm just here for the vibes.
wait, sorry. Oh no, you can finish.
No. It's just go. It's okay.
Because I wanted to add on before Freddie, because
Going for the mic.
Freddie's ready.
Because I stopped reaching, but I was like, I wanted to add on to something before moving on. I wanted to add on to both like what you guys were talking about, like kind of like the stereotype of the Latino community or like the Latino neighborhoods being dangerous, because I grew up there and I remember growing up, my mom would always be like, never go outside. Like when you're going trick-or-treating, make sure you're going with like 10 adults or whatever, right? Because, okay, I feel like Latinos have this problem where they will blame all the dangers on other communities. Because even though we live in a Latino community, she would tell me like, oh, we're not the dangerous community, It's like it's other neighborhood, it's other minorities that are the danger, not us. And I do kind of just feel like Latino neighborhoods being dangerous is like just a really heavy stereotype, because when I grew up there, I felt like the safest I ever felt. Like I felt like really connected. I felt like I could trust my neighbors and everything. And it's like, and now, I mean, my house got robbed.
In the suburbs.
My house got robbed in the suburbs versus me living in Cicero for the early stages of my life, right? So.
Oh, your house got broken into now?
Yeah, like a few years ago while I was living in this place.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
My condolences.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, like I've lived in Evanston the majority of my life. Evanston's my neighborhood, but like if anyone outside the state asks me where I'm from, I'm gonna say Chicago. They're not gonna know that.
That's another thing. My dad was asking me this, like, hey, when people ask you where you're from, what do you say? Do you say Illinois, Des Plaines, Chicago?
You should say Des Plaines. This is not a neighbor. I'm sorry. Yo, shout out to Rogers Park. The areas like shout out to the border side.
Naperville.
Yeah. Shout out to the outside of the Chicago area.
Wait, but like
I
what?
can claim I'm from Chicago because I'm on the south end of Rogers
Des Plaines
Park.
is a Chicago suburb.
I don't care your 606 zip code. I'm sorry, but
Wait, but like what if someone from a different country is asking you where you're from?
It's just
like
easier to
Des
say
Plaines,
Chicago.
Rosemont.
Like, what are we supposed to say? Des Plaines, Illinois? They're not going to know what that
Yeah,
is.
they're not gonna know.
You could just say like, yeah, Des Plaines, Illinois, and they'll think that like you're in Springfield.
No, I
Illinois.
just say, like, I live, like, by Chicago.
You could say I live by Chicago.
You can say
can't
Chicagoland suburbs.
Hey, I could say Chicagoland or Chicago.
We can
And
say
people,
Chicago.
everyone's gonna be below the other person saying that like you can't rep from Chicago if you're not from here.
I was just
I'm
saying.
not saying I'm not from Chicago.
Like
I'm from
at
the
this point,
suburbs.
like I lived. Sorry, I lived in Rogers Park, and I lived in Chicago Heights at young ages. Right, Chicago is very different, very vast, very diverse. There's definitely like not like the same kind of experience. I'm sorry for anyone I offend by saying that you're not from Chicago if you're from Naperville.
I mean, I always just say I'm from O'Hare.
O'Hare?
Yeah.
The airport?
Because I'm literally 5 minutes away from the airport.
Like you can see the planes lands.
I mean, yeah.
Wait,
I
when
agree.
when people say, like, oh, I'm, like, from Chicago, do you count that as in, like you grew up there? Like, is that the place? Like,
I would
because,
say-
like, I lived in Chicago, but, like, I have memories there, but, like, really, really young, and that was, like, before preschool. But, like,
I would
I
say
had...
born then. I was born in
Okay.
Chicago.
Because, like, if I went to, like, the daycare there, I'm just wondering how people, like, base that off of.
I mean, like, if you say you're from Chicago, someone's going to ask you, like, have you taken the red line before? And I can say I've taken the red line, the purple line, the pink line, the blue line. I'm sorry. The blue line is terrible. It's a little tangent. But nonetheless, like, being from Evanston and living in Rogers Park for a couple years in my fundamental childhood, like, there's several different experiences across the city. And I have to say that, like, I'm almost losing the question. I'm losing the plot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're 100% losing the plot.
Yeah, what was it?
I don't even remember.
Oh, yeah, what were you talking about?
If Chicago is a good cultural center for you.
Yeah. Okay, I can still kind of say this.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's a cultural difference between Rogers Park and Evanston. If you're on the south side of Evanston, that's like going on past Dodge and everything. Like even in that like closer by the lake side, there used to be a predominantly like black and brown neighborhoods. There used to be Hispanic people and black people all across like Fleetwood Jourdain and like what else? Like Church Street and stuff like that. And then it gets slowly gentrified. The experience has changed over the years. And like when I was in Rogers Park when I was so young, like everyone was Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was Hispanic. Everyone like at least like knew what part of Rogers Park had a division, because low-key, we are kind of segregated a little bit. Like, and when you go in the Chicago area, there is kind of segregation, but communities, because communities move there in mass to help each other out.
100%. I mean,
yeah.
Chicago's like I think one of the most segregated cities in America.
Like, my dad could point on the map and be like, Pulaski Street, I know who lives there. Like, Little Village, I know who lives there. Especially if I said Pilsen, he'd be like, yeah, I know a couple people who live there. And then he'd be like, yeah, they're Latino, they're Polish, they're Italian. Like, well, no, I was thinking about Little Italy. No duh, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who lives in Ukrainian Village.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Chicago has a lot of like their own communities, as you said. Like there's Humboldt Park, Little Village, Cicero, and Pilsen.
All gentrified.
Yes, they're all facing gentrification.
Is there like any that aren't?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're like all either
It was low
already
rent.
or currently in the process of being
Look,
gentrified.
I understand if it's low rent or property that's been there. Like, I would want to move where the rent is cheap, but like you can afford 1,500 plus. You know, these people have made culture. You come in and then like you try to shift that a little bit. Gentrification at the core of it. You know, but I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Actually, the Latino population makes 1/3 of Chicago, and the numbers will keep growing. But if these communities are at risk, that won't be able to sustain us. We won't be able to like have our little culture hubs. Because I'm not from Chicago, but I have family who live in Chicago. My parents are going to Chicago like almost every day now, and that's because the resources they offer. And if gentrification continues on, then those resources get taken away.
They get dried up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to add to that, it's just like, I mean, there could be a growing population of like Latinos, like Black Americans, and like any kind of like minority demographic. But if we don't have our cultural centers where we can lie on, some people won't understand our issues when we're like trying to ask for, I don't know, programs and assistance. Because a lot, what I feel like has changed about like my neighborhood is that it's become more individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say that like, you know, a couple of minutes ago about like the block parties and how like they just kind of absolved over the years, and how like Sandy, you even mentioned like if you ask your neighbor for bug spray, they might like be a little bit stingy.
Yeah, they're gonna be like they'll just like look at you and then be like, I don't know, rude.
Yeah, like my dad used to say that people actually used to ask for a cup of sugar in Chicago Heights. And I'm like, that's so foreign to me because I can't even ask my neighbor, hey, can you look out for my like package that came in the mail? They ask me, who am I? What do you want? Like, I'm like, I live in building like I live in the building above you. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm sorry.
That's like the Karens who are like, I've never seen you here before, and I live here.
Yeah. When they say
I'm
like a
calling
minority,
the police.
when they say minority in like a living in a high end community, it's like, are you sure you live here?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I never had that. I don't want to place any names and areas, but it is true. It is true. The higher end neighborhoods, yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely look at you, and they'll see that you know you don't look like them, or they'll treat you a different way because it's just there's no that sense of community, even like outside of your local area. Still, if you're a traveler or just a visitor.
Yeah, even my dad, he's like kind of like more darker skin than all of us, and he's the one that gets the most like suspicious looks from everyone else. He always gets his bag searched each time he leaves the store, and it can be like his own people as well to profile him.
Mm-hmm.
They do be your own people, though.
Should we move on to the second topic?
Yeah. Don't worry about like dead air, because like if there's too much dead air, we'll just
We have to edit
cut it
a
out.
lot.
Yeah,
but
Beep, beep, beep.
it'll be an enjoyable episode to edit though, because you'll be right there with me, right?
It's going to be hilarious.
But what if we have like an hour like
Whoa. The
You-
smooch in the mic was kind of crisp.
I missed out. I'm getting FOMO.
Viewers at home, you know, our two hosts currently just kiss each other
We
on
just
the
made
lips.
out. Made out.
Oh my God, guys, too much tongue. Stop.
It's not. We can.
Yo, Matt, you're getting an F.
Yeah, you're feeling the project.
God.
I'm
It
sweating.
doesn't matter if we kiss
Is
or
it, or
not.
is it hot in here? Like, low-key?
It is pretty hot.
Look, the draft is coming in just right now my way.
Yeah, why
and
does
I'm
it
so
kind of
thank-
feel like
I'm
it's only right
so
there?
thankful because that one needed to be open like instantly.
Yeah.
Anyways, second topic.
Okay, so yeah, the reason I brought Chicago is because I did a lot of research about the Chicana movement in Chicago. Do you guys know what Chicana is?
Please enlighten the viewers out.
Okay.
Please enlighten me. You know, I forgot the definition.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know the definition.
I lied. You.
I was bending the truth.
Yeah.
I just know their makeup's really good.
That's a good start. So Chicana originated from California, but it represents Chicana specifically represents an American woman whose parents or grandparents relocated to the USA from Mexico. So typically they're second generation of immigrants, and Chicago had.
Did I pick up?
But then, yeah, Pilsen has an interesting history with Chicanas. It dates back all the way from the 1960s, from the barrio of Chicago's 18th Street. A lot of these Chicanas were even mothers or just anyone in the community just seeking to way to improve. Yeah. Should I just keep talking more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep talking.
you're the master.
Yeah, just keep talking, and we'll add on when we feel like we need to add something
Yeah.
on.
Okay. So yeah, so it first started like in the 1970s when they began fighting alongside the United Farm Workers, where they started to boycott lettuce and grapes, and then in 1972, the CTA was found to be practicing discriminatory practices against hiring Latinos. Out of the 12,000 CTA employees in 1972, only 246 were Latinos. And so this is why Chicanas came forward and started protesting to march for fair employment. And based on that, now the CTA employee represents, the CTA employees represent 13% of the Latino.
Ow. Sorry. I accidentally dropped my phone. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Put the phone down.
No, okay.
iPad kid.
I was looking at the
Actually.
script. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Please go.
reading off full scripts now?
No.
Okay. I'm kidding, but could you clarify again? How you said how many Latinos make up the CTA workforce now?
Wait, sorry. Let me quickly fact check. Yeah, okay. So the Chicanas, they went and picked in a march, and they told the CTA administrators that since Latinos are 13% of the Chicago's population back then, they should have a minimum of 1,600 Latino employees. And since then, they ended their discriminatory practices against hiring them.
Do you know anything about like the projected like discriminatory like practices they would do? Would they just like deny like applications or?
Well, they deny applications, and typically they also wouldn't. When you're having the applicants forms, you're supposed to, or at least when DI was still a thing, you're supposed to like have your applicants be in different communities. You're not supposed to just like promote it in one community. You're supposed to like get the word
out.
Yeah, get the word out.
Mm-hmm. So like due to the protesting, and what year was it again?
1972, and they kept going more forward. They also advocated for Atlantic studies to be taught in high schools.
How long after they protested did they do something about it? Do you know?
About the Latin studies? 1978. You know, I'm not
You
gonna
can say roughly, you know.
Yeah, actually, yeah. After like late 1970s, they actually had a high school uprising in Froville High School, which also led to to rebuilding the Benito Juarez Academy School, which allowed for like more Latinx teachers, studies, and even like bilingual classes, because a lot of these students didn't even know English.
Where is the presence of like the Chicano like movement right now?
So right now, a lot of it's still in Pilsen. A lot of it, there's a lot of young artists who are drawing the murals, and even our efforts on fighting against gentrification.
I mean, yeah, like Pilsen is known to be like one of the most like I guess beautiful parts of Chicago because they're
Colorful.
very prided. Yeah, they're very prideful of the fact that they embrace murals and everything. Like you go there, there's one on like every block.
Yeah, like, especially when we did that Pilsen walk.
What are they doing to stop gentrification? You said that they had like programs like that. What are they actively doing?
So, okay, I know what they're doing, but it's just like I have to find it deep in my brain.
It's okay. You can take your time.
Yeah. I mean, like, learned from a friend of ours is that, like, they are working on, like, maybe, like, not making affordable housing by not just, like, building a new building, but, like, taking pretty much, like, historical, like, buildings and stuff like that and making it available to, like, low-income families first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the few things they're doing, at least ease the gentrification, is they actually buy the lots before any of the businesses comes and overcharge them. And they usually buy these lots by like fundraising, and they're still able to keep the affordable mortgages. And that's a few of the things they're doing. And I guess I have a question for all of you, and it's like, what do you envision for the future of Latinos in Chicago?
Wait, what do I envision for the future for the Latinos in Chicago?
Yeah.
Well, like right now, I know there's like a lot of fear, like of people like leaving their homes because of like the political state of the world. Is that the right term?
100%.
Yeah. And, I just hope it doesn't feel like it's going to happen soon. And sometimes it feels like it's going to happen never. But in like my perfect world, I envision, everyone like going out and being able to feel safe and be free, and not in fear of anything bad happening to them and their families, which I feel like is just kind of the bare minimum. But that's, yeah. If we could just get some of the bare minimum, that would be great.
Yeah.
My future is that I want to see what was it like probably like 7 months ago, before all the things that have been going around our community have been going on, and more. Like, I don't want to see ghost streets. I want to see people like being able to be themselves and, be present within their community without being in fear. I want to see children play in parks and be with their families and not have like a foreboding presence that things are gonna, change. Yeah, especially.
Or that it's gonna be scary to like go outside.
I want Latinos to own their own houses. Like, I want these communities to be affordable. I want these communities to have a chance. And more than a chance, I want them to prosper. And Pilsen was that golden staple for a lot of other communities to be like, this is where we're at. This is who we are. And, like, this is what we'll forever be. A little preachy, but I don't know.
No, and like even like simple but fun things like the parades, and like everyone just going out and celebrating our culture. Like I'm pretty emotional, so like sometimes like I'd see those pictures and like I just want to cry because I'm just so happy, like that we're being able to like finally like speak our voice and celebrate like everything we're proud of. But like now, like I look at those pictures and like kind of makes me want to cry, but like in a bad way, because it's just like I miss this, and it just feels like even maybe we'll probably still like have those hopefully, but like it's not gonna feel the same anymore, because I know like even if people are going out and celebrating, they're scared too.
Yeah, over the couple of months, there's been ICE raids, and it's been disheartening because I feel like the streets are quieter. Everyone's hiding. And I think a lot of people are even afraid to speak up because they feel like they'll be punished for it.
I mean, there are people actively being punished for speaking out, so it's a fair fear to have. I mean, I think we've had two pro-Palestinian protesters both get
Student, like people who had student visas, right?
yeah, student visas who are were taken by ICE, and then I don't think they were fully deported. I think both of them fought, and one
They were detained.
They were
for
detained.
Was that
Because they
the
weren't
video
deported.
of like the one girl like
Yeah.
walking and they
Yeah.
just took
She was
her?
one of them.
And they
Yeah.
wear like regular clothes. How do you know the difference between ICE and being kidnapped by some random
That's the issue.
person?
There's no due process or anything. They don't come to your house and properly like announce themselves because they know that like people are obviously going to be like resistant to them.
And they're going to be prepared also.
Exactly.
They're using the same law they used for Japanese people in the 40s,
Yeah.
right?
During World War II.
During World War II, they're using they invoked the same law. They're not doing the same thing of putting like a bunch of Latinos in camps, but what they are doing is rounding up and not asking questions and just sending them all to El Salvador. There's a Vermont, Maine. I don't remember.
Georgia, I think.
No, it's one of those like
The upper
New
New Hampshire, maybe.
I think so. It's like one of those like New Europe. What are they
It's
called?
okay. Omar, just
That corner of the United States, right? A U.S. citizen from there was taken, and they can't get him back now because they've sold him to El Salvador. So
Yeah.
he can't
Oh,
come
I
back.
saw that.
Yeah, he cannot come back.
It's basically like, your political opponents, they go away. Your citizens who speak their mind, they go away. The people who are here, legally, because it was never going to be about like catching people who are here illegally. And why is that a problem in the first place? It's always just a power grab to remove anyone who's able to speak their mind and actually contribute to a community that by far none has no like huge issues within the greater side of America. It's just like demonizing a group of people, and people don't see that the fact that you're getting bagged, you're getting shipped far away with no contact to family, lawyers or whatnot, right? And they're just ignoring it because it won't be me. That's the kind of logic. It's like, oh, I won't be treated that same way as those other people.
I feel like that's also a mentality that a lot of Latino, like older Latino people have, is that
Not just older.
I know not just older, but I feel like
It's a majority.
yeah, like a good majority from what I've seen is that they have this mentality that it's like it's not going to happen to me because I'm not like them. I've proved myself that like I'm fitting in with society. I'm getting caught up with the times, and it's like it's like they prove themselves like I'm not like one of you. This isn't going to happen to me, and I feel like that's like such a common mindset.
I'm a citizen, or I haven't done any crimes. They're only just trying to get the ones that have done crime. But you're, especially if it's like an illegal immigrants, you're technically they have some kind of crime. Like that's not what they normally will deport you on, but that's what they're trying to deport you on now.
Yeah, like my dad was telling me how he said, I don't know if he saw it on the news or something, but like there was this guy talking about how he had voted for Trump and then like they had deported his wife. Like,
Yeah, it's happened with a lot of people I've heard. So like a lot of those people, like they're either married legally and they have a marriage visa to be here, and like they're like pregnant and they're like a solid like family, and then their partner gets taken away because of these like barbaric actions and like the leverage they just have as ICE agents.
And I feel like what Trump is doing by putting out these executive orders is to create chaos and confusion. But in light of this, I've also seen a lot of support from Latino communities. I've seen in California, people were rounding up and protesting against this.
And also, but protests that are happening outside of the country, protests that are happening in England and Germany and Belgium, like there's
all over the world.
yeah, all over the world. Like they're protesting for us to not be treated this way.
Do you see how like people like some people are saying like, oh, don't come to America right now? 'Cause
Yeah.
like that's so like sad and embarrassing. Like we went from being the greatest country ever to like don't go there. It's kind of like, like North Korea is under like dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we're like that, but like with like a pretty face. Like it's not like that
Yeah, like
extreme.
fascism
yeah.
shows.
But
in our-
like it's like that's where we're heading.
I've like, we have our current administration who gets to break a lot of rules, and everyone who speaks against them is being threatened by their jobs. Like on a smaller scale, like on a similar scale, we have like a lot of people who are fearful just to speak out or like even do their operations of due process and like legalities and stuff like that to call out the current administration because they're willing to basically debadge you, de-license, de-everything. Like,
Dehumanize you.
yeah, like you are now a threat to American security. One interesting thing, I'm sorry.
I wasn't gonna say
You
anything.
hear about the Smithsonian being a threat to American values?
Wait,
right?
what is that? That sounds really familiar.
It's a museum that's in Washington D.C.
Oh,
Yes, like our big
yeah. Oh, yeah,
museum.
because Trump was saying, like, because they made, like, the American history, like, warped or whatever. Like, it's not
There's
right.
apparently a warped depiction of what American stands for. America is, right? And
But it's just the real American, like, what happened.
They made it gosh darn woke. That's what they did.
It's
That's what they
woke.
did.
Yeah,
They
they're
made
calling
woke.
it anti-American, and not just the Smithsonian Museum. They're also specifically calling out the African Studies Museum, right?
Yeah, like the African American History Museum is also being caught under fire because it depicts a less favorable depiction of Black Americans going through slavery, and it's not like, oh, they were like slaves in the sense that like they were treated right or they were,
This is ill.
like home mates. This is not the reality that like a lot of people in the current administration want people to know about. So they want to distort history and demonize like the current structures that we have to blend the lines of what is reality and what is not. So
Do you think this is, like, more of, like, the older mentality? Because, like, when I was younger, I'd always just say, oh, I'm just waiting for all these old people, like, who are in charge to die. But then, like, sometimes it feels like it's still as divided. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it feels like, okay, guys, like, we're all in this together, right? Like, we can fix this. But then other times it doesn't.
No, the Gen Z men, especially.
Yeah, oh my
We're
God.
cooked. They're cooked.
Oh, the Andrew Tatians.
yeah, like
Yeah,
we have a whole generation of just like anti-progressive men that are coming in.
Oh,
and
you're
they've
right.
been
I
fostered
totally forgot about them.
We were
by
so
older
close.
generation.
We were so close with millennials, right?
Yes.
We were so close to being
Maybe
considered.
not though.
Barely.
It was a growing change because
Yeah, like millennials and I guess like
conservatives.
hold on, never mind. I lost my point.
No, go ahead.
No, I lost my point.
Well, like I think that you were going on like how millennials, like what the public zeitgeist was at the time was like around like 2000s, 90s. It's like it was a time for change. I mean, we saw in like 2015 or 2013 that gay marriage got like
2014.
Oh my god, that's not even that long
Yes,
ago.
like, you know,
what?
FNAF came out first.
Like here's the thing, right? Like millennials were very much viewed as the more progressive
Yes.
generation,
They're the backwards in terms
And
of
then-
tradition.
and then Gen Z coming over here calling millennials cringe and everything, and that I feel like
Oh, I don't think we're to blame. I don't think.
Oh,
No,
not
no,
the
no, no.
millennial boss.
no, I'm kind of saying
Cringe is fascism. I think that's what you're trying to get at.
no.
Cringe
Like,
culture is
our,
fascism.
like because we said they were cringe, they like went conservative.
No, we scared ourselves
Yeah,
into not
there we
being
go.
cringe.
We scared ourselves into not being cringe, and being cringe is like honestly just like
To be
kind of
cringe is to be free.
yeah, to be nice, to be accepting of people's like weird interests and everything. So then when
Or to be weird.
and so then like when like 14-year-olds on TikTok started not criticizing, but like making fun of millennials for like being cringe and everything, it's like they got scared to be cringe themselves. And now on TikTok, you see people bullying each other like left and right for having like different interests. And
Like views and perspectives.
yeah,
I can get what you're saying because it's like, I think a part of that is like also responsible on us, but like the culture that we were left with the older like Gen Z, because like the oldest of Gen Z is like 28, right?
Yeah.
No.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
like 28, 27.
yeah,
No.
like
Wait, older millennial?
No,
Older
older
Gen
Gen Z.
Z.
Oh,
Like
sorry,
the oldest of Gen Z, like the first.
That's like the
people in,
cusp people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's like the transitional period between like millennials and Gen Z, where
Mm-hmm.
like those groups of people, there are a lot of quote unquote bad eggs, you know, and they taught like the younger generation to either be like really pessimistic, but also like have no accountability of yourself when it comes to like respectability.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are like far right who like basically indoctrinated a new generation that needed help the most because they live in a society that doesn't have any leverage to get up where they need to. They don't know anything about like the new world that they're being born into, and they sat there and they said, "Hey, let's redo the playbook. Let's restart a whole generation with like hundreds of years of like conservative and traditionalist values that we should keep going backwards in the sense that like
You good?
Were we trying to avoid this?
Avoid what?
Like being sad?
I don't think
are
it's
you sad?
I'm not sad. I'm just overwhelmed.
It kind of sounded like you ran out of ink.
I did.
Like you just like midway, like you weren't even done with your point. Just midway, the ink stopped.
It's just I'm tired, dude. I'm tired. I'm not even 21 yet, and like I see a lot of people, they don't know what they're talking about when they come and they they talk about like race relations, like class difference and everything. It becomes an issue because there's just a lot of people who think in that perspective and they don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know. I didn't have anything to say.
I kind of like got lost in what we were talking about.
It's okay.
Like, what's the topic?
Oh, but
What are we envisioning for the future of Chicago?
Yo, we talked about that. Then we kind of went into
no,
like
but
our
I feel like
future
maybe
right
we
now
should all have like an answer. Oh, I mean, I guess Kyra doesn't have an answer. I mean,
answer.
I guess Kyra did have an answer.
Wait, what was my answer?
You were basically just saying like freedom.
Yeah, like
Oh,
you said the bare
yes.
minimum.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
but
the
like
bare
you want
minimum.
more of
Okay,
the bare minimum.
yes.
I guess my answer, circling back to that, I guess my answer would also would be what I envision for the Latino community in the future of Chicago. Honestly, parties. I envision parties.
Like tequila shot parties?
Like block parties,
Oh.
birthday parties. Like block parties, birthday parties, communion parties, just like constant celebration and music and dance and laughter and joy. That's how I envision the future.
Almost like networking.
I guess, yeah, like in a sense, just like
Community building.
yeah, just constantly having community events, and there, you know, people will learn to like love each other again and trust each other again and become a family again, and then you know, then there'll be like a mom and a child walking down the street, and they'll say hi to everybody because they know everybody because of these events. So that's what I envision for the future of the Latino community in Chicago.
Just like well shared community, basically.
Yes, a stronger community.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the viewers at home, Sandy just did a power pose.
That's the tagline.
What, si se puede?
How do you think Hispanic households enforce gender stereotypes?
So one way I think Hispanic households enforce gender stereotypes is by, if a family has a daughter and a son, they will enforce a lot of the responsibility on the daughter and less on the son. And so while also being a lot of responsibility, there also being more expectation for the daughter to do. So for example, like the daughter needs to be skinny, clean the house. If there's younger siblings, take care of the younger siblings, you know. And really just like kind of be like a second mom. Meanwhile, like the boys in the family will just kind of like be coddled and be like being praised for like doing the bare minimum. So that's like something that wasn't something that was really prevalent in my household. Like it wasn't. But that's just what I've also seen that is really popular in the Latino community, is just for that family dynamic to act that way. But my family was like very different because my mom was like a very hardworking woman. Like she's a doctor. Okay, well, she's like a nurse and everything. And so she kind of like, and she also had like this understanding of like, you know, what I do and what my brother does. like they both need to be accounted for. And yeah, I don't know. There's just like a lot that goes into my family dynamic that is like hard to explain because it's also the fact that she raised 2 neurodivergent kids. So yeah.
How about your dad? What role does he play?
So like stereotypically, right, the dad needs to be like, you know, like the man of the family. My dad was never like that. My dad was very much like kind of like a nerd. He was a nerd. He was kind of a loser. He was kind of in a sense. I don't know. Like he would always be watching movies, watching documentaries, reading books, and like all this stuff. And like he never really enforced. Both of my parents, they never really enforced gender roles. I mean, and if my mom did more so than my dad, but my dad was kind of like a very laid back dad, almost to the point where he wasn't really present, but it wasn't like in a bad way. I think my dad has just very heavily undiagnosed. Mm-hmm. That's like how it is.
Undiagnosed with?
I want to say ADHD or autism. Okay. I don't know specifically, but I know he's on something. But yeah, and I think it's also interesting to point out how like me ranting about my family, like there's like so many different dynamics that go into it, I guess. Yeah.
Something similar to happen to me, right, is that my mom at least, she grew up exactly like how you're describing. She was made to like do all the chores and take care of the younger siblings, especially because she was the oldest. And she basically never got to play. I remember she used to always tell me like, "Oh, your grandma used to never like let me play on the SNES or on the N64, you know, on the game console because that's for boys." And she would never play that. So she said to herself, "I'm not gonna make my kids do chores like how I was supposed to," and I wasn't made to do chores. Now the question is, would she have made a daughter do that? I don't think so, because I feel like she's pretty progressive in like general stuff. She's pretty good at like not in enforcing gender roles. Unlike my father, who is more traditional in the sense in gender roles, where he just like, you know, I remember him being like, "Pink can't be your favorite color," and I only said that low key to rage bait him. It did become like my favorite color just out of spite. Just because he said you can't, because I said I can't pick my favorite color. I like all of them. I like the rainbow because it has everything. I like the spectrum. And he's like, "No, you can't like pink or purple because those are girl colors." But to be fair, we were rage baiting each other. But you know, but I see what you're, but I definitely see that in like different in like other families, other Latino families, like my cousins who they are. I mean, they're girls and they're all forced to like to do like a lot of the chores around the house while their dad doesn't do anything. Unlike my dad, who he does do stuff around the house. Unlike the fathers I've seen.
Can I like add on to something really quick?
Yeah.
Like as you're talking, I'm also realizing this is that stereotypically the woman is supposed to do the chores while the man does all the work, and I'm just like realizing, wait, that's like actually kind of the opposite in my household. My mom's always working, and whenever my dad is free, he's always doing the chores. But he's not doing it out of like, you know, sending some sort of like message to be progressive. He's doing it because he's really picky about like the way he likes things. And so he just really likes to be in a clean environment. He likes things to be in a very precise way. And that's why I was saying that, like, my dad isn't very traditional. And he's more just just a neurodivergent person.
Oh, I bet he hates going in your room then.
Yeah.
Is your room messy?
100%.
Yeah, it is.
Very.
No, yeah, I relate to that because, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, 'cause I relate to that because, like, especially because I'm half Filipino, so, like, Filipino culture and Mexican culture are pretty similar. So I have, like, some cousins who, like, her mom will, like, make her, you know, do everything, expect everything from her. And then, like, my cousin, like, he's just sleeping in the basement, like, doing nothing and gets praised for that. But my family's pretty much like your guys' family. Like, my dad, he's always said he's been a feminist, but then after having me and my sister, that made him stronger, like a stronger feminist.
I was worried you were gonna say he like became lesser of a feminist.
Like, no, my daughters need to be in the kitchen. No, yeah, but like my dad, like he like cleans the house. So does my mom. They kind of just split it. And I've been blessed that like when I was growing up, I didn't have chores, which maybe I probably should have.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I like
Oh my
had
God, same.
structure and like
what
understood
I'm
responsibility because now I'm like lazy as heck, right? As heck. I can't swear, right?
Yeah, you can. Say
Oh,
it's
okay. Like I'm just like really lazy now. So sometimes like I really wish I had chores, but I mean, it's okay though. And then I feel like the only thing I could ever think about like unfairness in my house would be like between me and my brother of like he could go out later. Well, my brother also right now my brother's like 32, so there's a big age gap.
Yeah.
So that also might be it. But like when I was younger, I used to think it was it's because he's a boy. Like he gets to go out or like he can have like a girl over and close his door. Why can't I do that? You know?
Yeah.
So like that is a conversation I'm going to have with my dad soon, but not right now. But so like, but I feel like it does have to do with some of that too. Like me being a girl, and like I get it, like being his little girl, his daughter. Like he doesn't want me to grow up, but. Times are changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can relate to that, especially the brother part, because I am like the youngest sibling, but only by 2 years. But even then, I always felt like always give my brother more privileges. He could stay out late. He had his first phone, first car, everything kind of handed to him. And even then, I'm in charge of more chores. Okay. I was more in charge of more chores, so my mom had me cleaning the whole house, and my brother, he just vacuums the living room. And I always bring it up with my mom, like, hey, why is it like this unfair treatment? And her excuse was like, debes que saber. You need how to know how to clean, how to cook. And part of it, she never did tell me that I have to get married like a good man, but she has told me that like, she justifies it by like independent living, but then she's not consistent with my brother about that.
That's kind of like my mom too, where she will tell me like you should know how to cook and you should know how to clean, but she does kind of do it under the guise of like, I just want you to be able to take care of yourself. But it just feels like she's like my mom, she's like a lot stricter on me about it than my brother is. I mean, than she is on my brother. So, yeah.
how old's your brother?
He is 27. He's like the same age as Gabe.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like not super old.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah, I'm
talking.
sending that to Gabe.
Okay. No, I was mostly talking in past tense though.
What?
Gabe was 27.
Right. But
And how do you think machismo plays in our culture?
A lot.
Oh my god, a lot. A lot.
lot.
Okay. Like every Latino guy I've met are awful.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, her eye twitched and looked at you.
No.
I mean, I rage bait her.
Okay.
100%.
You're like annoying, but not in the typical
Guy way.
Latino.
I'm more like a kid poking you
You're
on
like
the
a
side
little
with a stick.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like that.
Terrible in the sense of machismo, or just terrible as a person?
Just terrible.
Yeah.
But Omar, I feel like you could have like the most insight on this kind of topic because you are a Latino man, and also like some of the things you told me about your dad. I feel like your dad plays very heavily into machismo culture.
Yeah,
too.
100%. I mean, he still has that like old school kind of like thinking about gender roles, which is really hard because I'm really into fashion and I can't truly explore everything that I want to explore because he will get mad at me, which I already had to deal one fight with nail polish and nail paint, nail polish.
Nail polish.
Nail polish. And that was really annoying. And I don't care enough to do it again, but I really want to wear skirts. I really do. Mm-hmm. But I'm just going to wait until I move out, which, I don't know, could be 4 years, 6 years. I don't know when I move out. But I'm just going to wait till then Because, I mean, it's just easier.
Have an emergency skirt in your car.
Why would I do I
When you
don't
go
care
to the
though.
club,
Yeah.
I'm not going to the club.
Are
I'm
you talking
going
about
home.
like mini skirts or like
No, not mini skirts. I don't. No, I want like big
like the
skirts.
flowy ones?
Yeah, the flowy
yeah, I
ones.
love
He likes
I
those.
like
maxi skirts.
I like flowy flowy things. Flowy.
Mm-hmm.
I like flowiness. That's why I got really annoyed when my dad got me blackout curtains. They're thick and they just fall down. I don't want that.
I have blackout curtains.
I would prefer getting the blackout top. So like I just slide it but
Oop, sorry.
it's mostly just like it's restrictive and for like most guys, and it's just really annoying seeing it online too, because it's just like, I mean, my dad isn't fully like that. Like he can talk about his feelings. He's okay with crying. Like he's not like, like that. But I mean, he's like, what's it called? Gen X, right? So he's like the average Gen X Latino guy. I'm not saying that like I love my dad, but he's some like old school thinking. It's just like really annoying sometimes to deal with. Just because like I'm seeing it like more like affect the younger generation too, and it's just really annoying because like I work with a lot of like guys, like more stereotypical guys, and they're all just like they suck. They suck. They're just like they're so ingrained with like masculinity that they don't like realize like what they're even doing or how they put down women or just anything.
like
It's-
the Andrew Tate guys.
but not barely. Like I can definitely see that some of them might be into that. Definitely one of them that like left a while ago. I remember he one time asked me like, what would I do if like somebody tried flirting with my girl and everyone else, all the other guys were like, I'd fight that guy, and I'm just like, I'll just try to get her out of the situation. Well, what if he tries to fight you? I don't know, de-escalate, escape. I don't want to get into a fight. It's like you're not gonna resort to violence. Essentially, is what they said. I don't know what they say. It's just like that's not me. And they're like, you know what? That's facts. Peaceful. No, I'm like, okay.
They always say that at the end. That's facts. That's facts.
That's facts. Yeah. But they're just like guys are really annoying, and I know that's not fully machismo because like, some of the guys I'm talking about are like Middle Eastern and white. Guys are really annoying.
Yeah.
Guys are really annoying.
Yeah, we know.
Do you have anything to add on, Kyra?
No, not really. I mean, like my grandpa was like that. Stereotypical Mexican old man, and then I just somehow like got really blessed with my dad. Like before, like when we were younger, like he used to be so mean and like really strict. And obviously, like I feel like kind of like I feel like they kind of control like what like their daughters wear a lot, and like my dad would he'd have a heart attack like every day I went to school. And then like one time we got into an argument, I came home and like half my closet was gone. So like
Dang.
yeah,
Oh my
things like
God.
that. And then like that would kind of just like make me so mad because it's like, so you think the reason I'm getting into the situations I'm getting in is because my shorts are too short, like and it's just so annoying. But then, like, we went to family therapy, and so my dad's, like, the sweetest man now, so I don't really have to deal with that. Yes.
nice.
W
Growth.
for
That's
Vic,
also like really
for
progressive
therapy.
for like a man to admit that
Yeah.
he needs help and to go to therapy for it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because I remember one time on the news, it was, like, it was during, like, LGBTQ month, so it was, like, the LGBTQ alphabet. They were, like, talking about it on the news, and my dad, like, kept replaying it, and was like, Kyra, come here, watch this, just to, like, educate himself, and he, like, actually likes learning about it. So that's why, like, he gives me a lot of hope that, like, no matter how, like, much of, like, toxic masculinity, like, you can have in yourself, that you can always change if you really want to change. So yeah, I'm just really happy I don't have to deal with that anymore because there would probably be a lot of more fights in my house. But yeah.
So that's really nice. Especially like Latinos getting therapy, like
Yeah.
it's kind of unheard of. But yeah, I could say my dad's a little machisto. Machisto.
Machista, yeah.
But that's cause like it's just like he's kind of like the breadwinner of the house, so he kind of gets to like sleep while everyone is cleaning. And he's also more distant. Nor have I seen him cry except for like 2 times. But he's also kind of progressive in some ways. Because, like, my dad, he was like aggressive before I was born. And he used to like go out drinking and he always come up with a different cologne on him and perfume. But
For the streets.
yeah. Yeah. But my mom told me that as he grew older, he kind of matured. He kind of like let himself be vulnerable with my mom especially. And it's just like, there is hope for like men to like grow better and like improve. It's just like they need themselves to also make that step forward to the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my dad, like he is very progressive, but at the same time, I know he still like believes that, you know, like the man should, like obviously like 50-50, but that like he likes to provide like for the family. Like actually, I think my mom might make more money than him, but like he takes care of like the house and everything. But it's just, yeah, it's really nice to have a balance that, because it's either, I feel like sometimes people either think there's like one, you could either be like really machismo or like really, I don't know, what is like the opposite?
Really soy.
What is that?
Soy?
Is that like brain rot?
No,
Oh.
well, sorta. I mean, it is a thing that, how did they describe like guys on the internet? It basically means the same thing as like beta male. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. You can either be machismo or beta, but there is a middle ground. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm a Sigma actually. I'm a Sigma.
So we first talked about like the past like Latinx presence in Chicago, and then we talked about a little bit of Chicano history, and then we kind of talked about what we envision for the future of Chicago.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we were saying our overall general feelings on what this Trump administration is going.
And what the current administration is doing.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw something out, say like if it's not good or not.
Okay.
Jump in. So we talked about the past, the present, and the future of the Latino community within Chicago and elsewhere. We talked a lot about the current administration and our thoughts and our views when it comes to that. However, the question is now on you. The answers are still up in the air, but I'd like to leave you guys with a good night, and thank you for joining the K-Talk podcast.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.